Good morning. I'm Sean P.
Big Root.
And we're the brothers.
I'm tired of the same rap songs. Every new hit's just to fucking sing along. Rap is so boring, now correct me if I'm wrong. It's like they took the art out the fucking art form. I'm tired of the same rap songs. Every new hit's just to fucking sing along. Rap is so boring, now correct me if I'm wrong. It's like they took the art out the fucking art form.
Coming to you live from the Bronx.
And this is latest episode of the podcast. And it's February 5th. This is an early morning one, 8:32 in the morning. Happy birthday to Mom yesterday.
Yes, happy birthday to Mom. Happy 87th. And happy birthday to my late mother-in-law, Miss Taylor, who would have been have a birthday today on the 5th of February.
Exactly. Happy birthday, Miss Taylor, in heaven. And you're in our thoughts and our prayers as always. And today's episode is titled Best Life Now.
Because tomorrow is not promised to any of us.
Well said. Well said. And the reason we titled our episode Best Life Now is this is our opportunity to remember the late, great Kobe Bryant and to just kind of talk about the impact that he made and also to acknowledge and to mourn the passing of his daughter and all of the other passengers in that flight, and to reflect on the impacts of, again, his life and legacy.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and LeBron said some key words during the memorial that they had for Kobe at the game last week, and he said it's going to be a celebration. And a lot of people sometimes don't know how to process that way. But we can look at passings as celebrations because we can celebrate all the things and achievements and the positive impacts that the person or persons have left behind.
Yeah, the way they touched your life in a positive manner.
Exactly. So, you know, a lot has been said about Kobe Bryant the last few weeks, and we just want to add to that. And obviously, he was a great NBA talent. He was a phenomenal basketball star. He made a tremendous impact far beyond the court. He retired and, the very next year won an Oscar, which is something that's never been done and something that you almost don't expect to be done. And I think that ties perfectly in with the episode Best Life Now because that's what Kobe Bryant exemplified.
Yeah, always striving for the best and putting the work into whatever you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. And it almost seems to a person that's the impression that he made on them, and that's the lessons that he taught them. It didn't matter if they were older or younger. It didn't matter if they were his peers or his mentors. He always seemed to be the one that had the words of encouragement and had the direction and the drive and the mentality of, you know, to get it done, to pick your target, to aim for it, and just to whatever your goal or dream was to make it happen. And I think lots of us talk about that, but very few of us live that way.
It's true. A lot of us don't live that way. And to be honest with you, a lot of the impact he had, you didn't realize till after he passed. The different stories you hear from different people that he encouraged them. He told them that, you know, they can do it and to put the outside noise to the side and focus on whatever task you have in hand. So, I mean, those are very good life lessons for all of us to, you know, take going forward.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess my view on is that a lot of things we didn't know because we weren't supposed to know. Because if he's telling Mr. Joe something or Miss Barbara something, that's not for us to know. That was for them. And that's why they're sharing it now. It's kind of like, you know, when someone passes and everyone just tells you a little story of some memory or some, you know, interaction they had. And you realize that wasn't meant for the world or everybody else. That was just for that person. But it had such an impact that they then want to share it and just let people know, you know, that the impact was made. And I think that's what happened. And then the more you hear it from so many places, the more you realize that, okay, this is a picture of who he was, right? Because so many people are saying the same thing. And so many people are saying that I was at a low point in my life and he was there to pick me up. I celebrated a great moment, and I wanted to let him know that something he gave me helped that moment to, be achieved. And, again, his legacy speaks for itself. And like you said, Big Rube, most of us didn't know that because all we know is the basketball Kobe, the hitting the shot Kobe. And he was so much more than that, which we didn't realize until what happened.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Sometimes we just don't pay attention because even a lot of the appearances he made on late night talk shows and other things, I didn't really pay it any mind. But then you see the different clips now, you're like, oh, he was on there, he encouraged so-and-so. He did a lot of different things. I was even listening to some of the people that he's working with in his post-basketball career, and he has so many different projects that he was going to bring to life that probably might not get done now.
Right. So for anyone who's not totally familiar with Kobe Bryant's career, I mean, there's no way to go back over the last 20 seasons unless you're literally going to watch the last 20 seasons, which you could probably find someplace, NBA TV or something. I wouldn't do that, but if you're a basketball head and you want to, go ahead. But what I would suggest is if you have Showtime, there was a documentary called Kobe Bryant's Muse or something to that effect. Very informative. It was made several years ago, and it just basically gave a good insight into his upbringing, his his childhood. He spent many years in Italy, and then came back to the States where he became a high school basketball star. Eventually drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers, and then the rest of the story you kind of know. But again, the Muse on Showtime, Kobe Bryant, gives a lot of insight into his life. It's funny, there's some things that you hear him say, and I was telling my son yesterday, Darius, that it's funny how we see ourselves, and it's funny how other people see us. Because I think everybody saw the focus Kobe. And some of the stories that he said about himself was he felt awkward as a kid growing up, as an outsider, and some of it makes sense. He was a tall black kid in Italy with an American accent, and I guess once he got settled there, he came back to America, where he was a tall black kid in Philadelphia with an Italian accent.
In the suburbs.
And I don't understand it. I want something good to listen to. I demand it. All the real artists on another planet, and me, I'm the last MC still standing.
So it always seemed that he was separated or misfit, right? And I guess there's something that Darius heard, and he said that Kobe Bryant said that while his friends were going to parties, he wasn't invited, so he was focused on his craft. And I pushed back on that, and I said, you know what? I think that was probably somewhat true, but I think a lot of it was more within himself, that he was so focused on the things he wanted to do that sometimes he isolated himself and became more about craft than partying and friendship. And again, if you listen to the Muse, some of his words I interpreted that way, right? Because I'm saying if you're a high school basketball star and you're the number one prospect in the country, you are getting invited to parties. Let's just be honest. You are going to have people who want to grab on your coattails and be around you. I believe, based on the way he lived his life and the things he put out there, that he was so focused that he probably saw himself apart from everybody and decided to focus more on ball and keep driving, as opposed to people not wanting him to be around or to be around him.
Yeah, because from what I know of him, he didn't smoke, he didn't drink. He was totally about preparing his body for battle and to be the best he could be on the court. So again, if his mindset is to be the youngest NBA player, to get into the NBA and play with grown men, he's trying to focus his body and his craft to get to that level. He's not worried about going to parties and hanging out and doing what he would say is non-productive activities.
Exactly. That's the point I'm getting to. Because even in the NBA, when he's a superstar, right? You don't really have any stories or examples for the most part of Kobe tearing up in Miami or running the scene in L.A. And that seemed like that was more internal, right? Because you can't see the star of the Lakers being shunned, not being given the keys to the city. But again, because of the way he projected himself and carried himself, no, I'm just focused on what I have to do, right? So it's not that nobody wanted him to come out and play. He just wanted to stay inside and work. And,
You know, a lot of times when listening to what happened between him and Shaq, he wanted Shaq to work as hard as him. He felt if Shaq had put that type of work in, Shaq would be unstoppable. He was basically unstoppable anyway, but he said if you do, the workouts that I'm doing, nobody will ever stop you. We could win like 10 titles together.
exactly. And it's true. And even recently and before he passed, those were still statements that he was making. So, again, it wasn't just something that he was reminiscing back in the day. That was a core part of his philosophy. Be your best at all times and always drive for what you want. And I guess he looked at Shaq as being the perfect model to have done that. If you took what I'm doing and did it the way that you could to your potential, unstoppable. And I'd have 12 rings. And I think he was half joking and half serious, right? Because I think he really believed that. So I think whatever went down between him and Shaq, I think it was an utter respect on his part, but also an utter desire for Shaq to be more like him. And
I agree.
Go get it done. So today's episode is entitled Best Life Now. And again, it's a tribute to Kobe Bryant, Gianna Bryant, and the 7 other souls who passed away that day. And I do hope going forward, not just our podcast and the news and just different media outlets, but that we do get a chance to explore the lives of all those people. Because I think it is important for us to not just celebrate the celebrities, but to just celebrate life, just to respect everyone, whatever their accomplishments are. Because most of the time we just don't know. It's not that they don't matter, we're just not aware.
No, it's true. I don't know about all the different people that were on the helicopter. Obviously, we know Kobe because he's a big public figure. I know Altobelli was a baseball coach, and I know he did coach at least 1 or 2 of the Yankees because they said they had encountered him in their West Coast minor league stint, and he had been a very influential part of their development, making it to the major leagues and things like that. And of course, you have the young girls, Gianna's teammates, 13-year-olds. Again, so much life, they thought they had ahead of them to be cut short.
Yes, exactly. And that's where the tragedy really comes in and the sadness comes in. And that's when it's hard to say the words that tomorrow's not promised, because we all want tomorrows. We want every tomorrow we can get. And we'll be right back. Statement of podcast, we had a phone call, and it seems that everything we were talking about came right back to us. And I'm not even sure if my microphone's recording okay. So I just noticed that. So first thing I'll say is it's not easy right now. I forgot the last thing we were talking about, but I believe we were talking about Kobe Bryant's widow and how sometimes not sometimes, but normally we pray and hope for every morning and every wake up. And right at that moment, we got a phone call from the hospital where our mom was staying. And the news was not good. Big Group, you want to elaborate?
Oh, yeah. We got a call from the hospital. I mistakenly thought that it was going to be a call about scheduling her to go to a rehab facility to, get ready to come home. Instead, we got a call that her heart had stopped, and they were trying to resuscitate her, but the attempts had seemed to have failed,
Right.
and she was no longer with us.
Right. So basically, we rushed to the hospital, and we found out that our mother was gone. And even before we left recording the podcast, when we put it on hold, we knew the momentum and the weight of the moment. And because the topic was about appreciating life and celebrating life and making the best of life, hence the title Best Life Now, we both know the importance of coming back and finishing the episode because that's what it was about. So that's why we're here.
Definitely. I mean, the whole thought was whatever you're doing, do it to the best of your ability and try to work through any adversities and, roadblocks that you come up against.
Right. So I think, and again, it's kind of hard to remember exactly where we left off. I think where I left off as far as memorializing Kobe Bryant, in which we're now going to make sure we memorialize our own mother, was that the life you live is the legacy you leave. And the way you live your life is the way you impact the people around you, the things you do, and honestly, just the things that you leave behind. And it really seemed in all of the reports of Kobe Bryant and his activities and all the people that he affected on the court and more importantly off the court was that he was really inspirational and that he really made an impact on people to do their best, find a target and aim at it. And the best way we feel to memorialize him, and I guess the best interpretation of the Mamba mentality, is to pick your targets and strike and go get it. Go after it and go hard and get it done. And I guess that best symbolizes and summarizes Kobe Bryant and his legacy. And again, respect to him, his family, his daughter, all his family he left behind, and the families that perished with him.
I definitely agree. I mean, basically, his philosophy, I guess, if summed up, is the relentless pursuit of excellence, trying to always do your best and keep improving, keep striving to do your best. I mean, you best not but be the best in the world, but the best that you can do, and keep trying to do better at what your craft is.
Yeah. And pivoting now because of what we told you earlier about the passing of our mother, Blanche Walker, on February 5th, 2020. She just reached her 87th birthday the day before. She was in the hospital. We were able to celebrate it and to, spend that time with her. And a lot of family members were able to stop in and to see her, let her know how they felt and what they were hoping for. And we did get to celebrate her birthday even towards the end without realizing it was towards the end. And again, as far as best life now, the three words that symbolize our mother is God is love. And basically what she really taught and her legacy is to love everybody the best you can. Always do the best you can. Always do it from your heart, genuine as you can. Put God first and put everyone else second. And by that I mean put God first and do as best you can by everybody else. And that's the legacy that she is leaving or left behind.
Yes, I've never seen my mother discriminate against somebody, to look down at somebody. Everybody, she greeted the same. She was always had a smile. If you came over to our house, she was greeted with great hospitality, a cold drink, and something to eat. And she just basically loved everyone. If you're one of our neighborhood kids and you were hungry, she'd feed you. Didn't ask you what's going on and where you're coming from and how come your mother didn't feed you. She fed you. You know, she was always looking to give a helping hand and give a loving smile and advice if you needed it.
Exactly. And so, what really is the purpose of this episode, both from when we started it, from what we've encountered, and what we can share? And I guess the purpose of it, as the title says, is to live our best life now. It's to do today what you can do today, do it to the best of your ability, take joy in it, take pride in it, truly appreciate it, truly hope that it matters. And whatever is behind you, leave it behind you, not to worry about it. And it's easier said than done, but too often we don't live our best lives. Too often we don't do the best we can, or our put forward our best effort, right? We kind of just go through the motions and just kind of show up and just try to get it done. And if you do that long enough, before you know it, your life is over and you didn't really accomplish the things you wanted. And I think the late, great Kobe Bryant, and now the late Blanche Walker, and anyone who's ever lived their life to the fullest would tell you, don't do that. Find the things that matter to you and go as hard as you can to get them done. And it's not about just listening to this episode. To our listeners, it's not about just hearing us and nodding. And even to us, it's not about just saying it and kind of shrugging. But it's actually realizing this is an opportunity to live our best life now, to make every day and moment going forward matter. And I guess to put it bluntly, get it done. Whatever it is, just get it done, do it, get it done, and then that's it.
Yeah, try to take this excuses away from yourself and give it 100%. It's better to try and fail at a task than not to try at all or not put your full effort into it. Giving yourself, a fallback as so I didn't really try, so that's why I wasn't successful.
Exactly. So we always move to a call to action phase for our listeners. And I'm not sure going forward how our podcast is going to look or sound as we try to tweak it and improve it. And we do want our listeners to know that this is a movement. This is an opportunity to take the information of the world, to take the realities around us and to apply them and to improve our reality, improve the reality of our children, and improve the reality of our people, our community. So it's not about just listening, it is about doing, and that's what the call to action part of our podcast is. So as far as living our best life now, Big Group, what would you say is is a call to action that you'd like our listeners to take?
I think everybody should just strive to do more. You know, if you're working out, do one more rep, do two more reps, do another set. If you are struggling on a certain task, try to get education so you can do it better. Try to improve yourself. Self-improvement is key in this effort.
Right. And that's really good. I would say our call to action, from my point of view, for this episode and just in general, is to really explore and find your God-given talent and use it. Just find what God put inside of you, really identify what it is, and let it out. Use it to the best of your ability. Because I can't say everybody believes in God or everybody has that understanding, but for those of us who do, that's probably the best way to move forward, is to find what it is you were meant to do, you're able to do, and to actually do it. And I guess this episode can fall on deaf ears. Maybe they all do. Maybe they don't. I guess this episode can truly, 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 truly hit somebody the way to hit us, because it literally hit us while we were doing it. And I think for us, the fact that we were able to finish it is an example of what it is to live your best life. It's really to take every opportunity and then make the most of it. And I pray that I'm able to do that the rest of my days. I pray that my brother Big Roop is able to do that the best of his days. Because if you take the most of every opportunity, I guess that's all you can do in life. I guess that's literally it. Just make the most of whatever comes your way or whatever you're able to get. So that is my call to action, honestly, to make the most of every single opportunity, every single day, every single minute. And I'm not just trying to say that because it sounds good, because it does sound good, right? I'm going to make the most. I'm going to do what I got to do and get done. No, I'm saying, honestly, we're all going to die. Period. We're all going to die. And only each of us knows have we truly valued our life and made the most of it, whatever that is. And this episode, and I think the reality that hit Roop and I is to do that, because you don't have, well, not saying you don't have a choice, because we all have choices, but that's a chance that's in front of us, right? To just literally take whatever opportunity is and make the most of it. And when it's done, it's done. So that's my call to action, and I hope our listeners will take heed to that and use it however they will.
I totally agree 100%. Try not to leave anything on the table. Exhaust all the opportunities that God has afforded you.
Amen. Hear, hear, and well said. So I don't know if you have any, if that's it, Big Roop. I mean, I really am glad that we were able to get through this, because when I tell listeners, if you listen to the first part of our podcast, you'll probably hear one tone. And if you listen to the rest of it, you'll hear another tone. And this is just raw general emotion, because literally when we started it, our mother was alive. And now that we're ending it, our mother is gone. And the only through line I can put through this is that we intended and intend to live our best life. That's what we hope for our listeners. And that's what we hope going forward, that we all live our best life now.
100%. I agree with you 100%. That's what we're going to strive to do. There's nothing on the table.
Amen.
Amen.
So, Kobe and all those who were with you at your passing and all those you left behind, we offer up a prayer and we offer up our condolences. And like LeBron James said, we offer up a celebration of 9 lives, hopefully well led and led to the fullest. And to our mom, we offer up the same 87 years. 87 years of love, 87 years of giving, sharing, doing. Our mom was a doer. She did for others, not for herself. And she really just did all she could while she could. And then when she couldn't, she encouraged others to do. So that's all I have to say. I mean, that's where I'll leave this episode. Big Roop, anything you want to say?
Just like to say, Mommy, we appreciate everything you did for us, all the sacrifices that you made, that you tried to make our lives as full as possible. And we will strive to, continue your legacy with our families, trying to make each individual have a fruitful and joyful and holy life.
Yes, we will, Mom. So we give thanks. We give thanks to the Lord above. We give thanks to those He's put in our lives. And we give thanks for the opportunity to make the best of every moment, to live our best lives now.
And I think it's only fitting in the words of our mother, God is love.
God is love. This is Sean P.
This is Big Root.
And we're the brothers.
I'm tired of the same rap songs. Every new hit's just to fucking sing along. Rap is so boring, now correct me if I'm wrong. It's like they took the art out the fucking art form. What's going on, man? I don't understand it. I want something good to listen to, I demand it. All the real artists on another planet, and me, I'm the last MC still standing.